pass it under your blade and you're good to go.
Okay, here's Darren Grant.
Darren's looking pretty good.
Yeah, he's moving really well. He's got it right. He's shuffling both times and then all the way across. He's making a nice T-push there. So that's
okay.
Really,
now, how tiring is this? How often you'd want young guys like Darren doing this? Because at 13 years old, that must be awfully tiring.
Well, I think it's more of once you get into the routine of doing it every day, you build up to have the stamina to do it, and at the same time you build some muscle, and it's good for you in the game.
Okay, Steve Grant, Darren's father, is ready with a question. Steve.
Roberto, just wondering what sports you played growing up, and how good did you do at them? Did you excel in those sports as well?
What other sports did you play as a kid, and how well did you do it?
I played soccer growing up. I mean, Italian boy from Canadian Arts, so I played soccer, and I did pretty well until I was 13, and then I really had to make a decision whether I wanted to pursue that or play hockey, and obviously hockey was a bigger passion for me.
I have one quick question before we go to break. Butterfly is the preferred style of all goaltenders these days, and I guess you play the sort of catchphrase style now, which is the hybrid style, but butterfly really is the bedrock of most styles we see in the NHL these days. Is there any chance a young goaltender could make it if he wasn't at least reasonably proficient at the butterfly style?
I mean, it would be rare. I mean, you don't even see that many goalies in the NHL. I mean, I can only think of maybe Marty Brodeur that really doesn't play the butterfly that much. And everybody else nowadays.
What style does Hasek play?
You got me on that one. He doesn't have a style. It doesn't count.
He just guesses right a lot, it seems.
Yeah, he's great at reading the play, so that's what makes him so efficient.
Okay, Roberto Luongo of the Vancouver Canucks, our guest on After Hours. Good enough to come out tonight and run an on-ice clinic with Darren Grant and Christian Hill, and we'll continue with more on After Hours live from GM Place. With Roberto Luongo as we continue with After Hours, and a rare opportunity to have one of the game's greats tutor a couple of young goaltenders, Christian Hill and Darren Grant. How's it going so far, Christian?
It's going good.
Yeah. Are you learning anything?
Yeah, but basically this is all new, but I've appreciated Roberto's advice, and it's helped me a lot.
Okay, and Darren, what about you?
Well, same goes for me. I feel like I'm learning a little, and yeah, so thanks.
Well, you're doing great so far, both of you.
Yes.
Okay, Roberto, facing shots in the butterfly position. We were just talking about the butterfly heading to break. So then how to get around the crease in the butterfly when facing shots. Eam, by the way, calls this drill basic rotation down.
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
Basically, the drill starts with, you start on your butterfly stance already, as if the puck, you're receiving a shot and the rebound, simulating a rebound on that side.
Okay.
So once the shooter yells now, which he would, let's say he sells.
Go ahead, Rod.
You would, first move is obviously your head turns first.
Okay.
Once you plant the foot, and this is where it's important to have the right angle of your skate to know where you want to go.
Okay.
The rest of your body is going to follow. You push all the way across, and once you're stopped, the shooter takes a shot on you.
Okay. Want to go, Darren? Come on in. Do you know how to do this one yet? Okay.
Is this one shot at a time?
I think this is one shot, yeah.
Okay, now.
Is he supposed to go down on that, or he can take the shot up?
Well, I think Roddy could take a little bit of a harder shot there, maybe.
That's as hard as he can shoot it.
So he's got some good rotation there, so it's really helping him to get into position quicker.
When does Darren know when to fall down when he's accepting the shot? How do you know when you're...
Well,
is it all about feel?
For me, it's... that's my most comfortable position, is to be in a butterfly. I mean, I probably go down on 95% of the shots. For me, it just helps me out really to feel comfortable making a save in that position.
Okay, last one, Darren.
Oh, wow.
What a shot. Okay, Christian.
Give the kid a chance.
You're supposed to make the goaltender look good, Ron.
Yeah. Booze, right. All right, Christian. Okay. How's this push?
It's really good, and his head is turning first to see where the shooter is, and it really helps him out. The rest of his body follows, and it's easier to get to where he's got to be.
So the first thing that you look for automatically is a head turn.
Yeah.
And then the body has to rotate as well?
Exactly. Once your head turns and you plant your foot, the rest of your body's automatically going to follow. So I think once you get into a more comfortable routine, you really want to work on the speed that you're turning to get your foot planted.
Hey, I have a question. Come on over here, guys. Darren. Christian, go in your position right down here as though you're going to get a shot right now. Why is it that, and move over here a little bit, Roberto, when we played, we were always taught the glove more in an upright position, more of a catching position, and I've noticed all goalies now, it's more like a downward. How is your glove position?
I think mine is I try to leave it as open as possible. It's more for visual effect, I think, on the shooter. If you got it straight, I think it doesn't cover as much area
Okay,
on the
so
net.
that might be something, Christian. And how about some guys that kind of, I don't know how...
Yeah, some guys have it up.
Yeah.
For me, I like to have it down because it's going to be only one decision, which is going to be up. If you got it here, there's two decisions. Either I got to go down or I got to go up to make a save, so I'd rather just have it down.
Scott?
Okay, Kelly and Roberto, Christian's brother Matthew's got a question. Go ahead.
For Roberto Luongo, in your opinion, what's the hardest shot to stop, and what's the hardest shooting angle to stop it from?
What's the hardest shot to stop and what's the hardest shooting angle?
Well, I think the backhand is a hard shot to stop because you really don't have a feel for where the puck is going. It's more of a reaction, once the shot is taken. And obviously, when the guy's in the slot in the middle of the crease there, he's got the most angle at the net possible, and you got to really be on top of your crease and challenging if you want to take away everything.
Roberto, I got a question about equipment because we all know that hockey equipment in general can be cost prohibitive for some families, but goaltending equipment takes it to a whole other level, especially as high-tech as it seems to be today. How did your parents manage when you were growing up and playing this position?
You know what? When I started out, it was rented from the city, and the first few years, and then I would receive gifts at Christmas. Those would be my Christmas gifts, as gloves and pads, and my grandparents bought me a set of pads one year, and that's really how I went through the minor hockey.
How about that? One of the game's great goaltenders started out with rented equipment.
And the community league actually lent me the equipment, so the same sort of formula. How about sizing of equipment? It's all big now, and how does a kid know? Let's say, for instance, Darren goes into the shop with his dad, and what's the first thing he's drawn to are big pads?
Yeah, I mean, it depends how tall you are, how old you are, and I'm not much of an expert in that area because I've had custom pads for many years. But I think you want something that you're going to be comfortable with, and if there's something I've learned in the 6 years I played in the NHL, I think I downsized my pads a few inches from when I started out, and I feel more comfortable moving around my crease.
And they may be downsized even more next year.
Probably.
Well, that's another. Save that discussion for another day. Boys, how was it? Good?
Great, yeah. Had a lot of fun.
Okay, and Darren? All right. Well, thank you both. Final thoughts from Roberto Luongo when we come back with more from GM Place on After Hours. Final segment of After Hours. Roberto Luongo good enough to come out tonight and conduct an on-ice goaltending clinic with Christian Hill and Darren Grant. Let me try to put this into perspective by asking you, if you, when you were a young goaltender, growing up in St. Leonard, ever had the benefit of instruction from a guy at your level or close to it?
I didn't know, but one year when I was in midget AAA, Marty Brodeur came to practice with us one time. It was during the NHL lockout, so that was something that was huge for me.
Words of advice for the kids?
I think the main thing is just work hard in practice and really make sure that you do be as technical as possible, and that's going to automatically carry over in the games, even though it doesn't feel natural at first. Just repetition is going to make it become natural eventually.
All right, final comment on the boys. What did you think of them tonight? They got
awesome.
a future here?
They were awesome. They do. I mean, he's a really big boy. He's going to grow a little more, I think. But definitely, as long as they work hard on their technique, and have the dream, anything is possible.
Well, you use your size to good advantage, and Christian's going to do the same, and Darren's got just a little bit of growing to do, but we know you will. Okay, next up for us on Hockey Night in Canada, the 56th All-Star Game from Atlanta. Skills competition Saturday. The skills have been revised to an extent to include a judged shootout competition